Greetings, shalom. I wanted to say a few words here. I don't know how long I'll be, and read just a little bit too. But the whole to bring out the works, the problem, contradiction, and in this case specifically speaking of the whole sacred name thing. It's been a tradition for what seems like hundreds of years, hundreds and hundreds. So it's nothing new, this tradition, and it continues to rage on, where a tradition is accepted, and because of that, spoken on it before, that then the Father's name is just replaced with the Lord because of believing, because the people that do this, in the prefaces, they'll usually say that why they replace his name, because of a tradition of trying to point at some group maybe, or whatever, Jews or whatever, that they don't say his name because it's sacred. But looking at the works, though, which apply to anything and everything just like it, but specifically about this, but the same exact work applying to other things, watching out for it, which is, that's how we test and prove something to all things, through the Father, not of ourselves, by ourselves, testing and proving all on our own. But it comes from him through doing that. We have to do that. Ask. When this thing is tested, to me, it's proven false, corrupt, and a lie. And it's deceptive too. I don't know, is there such thing that a lie that isn't deceptive in some way? I don't know that even exists. Maybe every lie is deceptive, in greater or lesser, but I would think all lies are deceptive. It has a deceptive nature in a lie. So in order to be a lie, it seems to me it has to be somewhat deceptive, whether greater or lesser, or in between. I would think vast majority, if not always, in some way, shape, and form. And so then this is deceptive too. But once it's looked at, once some things are being given to see, then it breaks the delusion and deceptive work. And then you can start seeing better, clearer for what we need to see, the reality of what the Father needs to, give us to see. Start seeing that. And then the lie is getting seen for what it is, and it gets destroyed from inside ourselves and comes out. Just destroy it. Destroy the lie from within. Destroy the idols from within and images. When it's tested, that you can't, this tradition of not saying his name, it's blasphemy to say his name all by itself, all alone. And we have reverence, the tradition now, reverence to not say his name, calling that like reverence, which I put in the description because that's what I see with this, is that it's reverence for the lie. It's like unbelievable. It's reverence for the lie, not the truth through the truth. It just looks like it has reverence towards the truth, but it's not. It's not. It's reverence for the lie. It is reverence. It's an image of reverence. It gets people to believe that's some kind of reverence, And this is used to this day. I mean, it seems pretty obvious because of what they do with his name, but in translations and things, this tradition is being used for that justification, to put the Lord in there. And there, in the Hebrew, there's no definite article. Like when we look at the Lord in Scripture and look at the Hebrew, there's never a definite article there when it's the Lord. Now, I can't speak to every single place, but I believe it is every single time when it's right before the Father's name. Then it would read the Yehovah, or, the his name, which is stupid, broken. So, the different places and random places I've checked every single time, I've never seen the definite article in the Hebrew. It's just the Yud Hey Vav Hey. That's it. Every time I check the Lord, those sections. So when his name is put in and used instead of that title, pagan title, whatever, meaning master, then the someone's name, Yehovah, becomes stupid and broken. But sure enough, it's not in their Hebrew, which is a sign all by itself that it should be his name. Once you use the name, you don't longer have to put the in there and add it to make the lie make sense. You have to add a word this time. In this case, you have to put the, because then if you just say Lord, every time you read where it's the Lord and you just read Lord, it's broken like that. See, so that creates the image of broken. So we're doing what? Good by adding the and fixing the broken thing. No, it's not. It's reverencing the broken. It's supporting the lie and broken thing by adding the word the, and it looks like it's fixing the broken thing, but it's not. That extra word, it has to be added because of something being a lie, because of an evil work being done. Now, in this one case, but this is how judgment works from him, and sin and lies, all these things. But just this one example, you have to add the word that to make it make sense, and without it, the Lord by itself doesn't make sense because it's title. But then when you put his name, if you were to just see his name there, then the lie doesn't make sense, does it? The lie has to drop because you've replaced the Father's name with truth. So now that second the added there, that was added because of replacing his name with Lord. Then you have to do another lie and add something that's a lie to make the first lie make sense. So then we go back and put his name there. And because you did one good truth, and because now the truth came in to replace this first lie, that second lie drops off also, and the goes away. But if no one's ever looked, it's not in there anyways in the Hebrew. So no one can say like, oh, it needs to be there. No, it doesn't. It's not in there. Although I understand, for example, more familiar in the New Testament with the definite article, but a lot of times translations won't use it all the time because it makes sense in English without it. But then sometimes it's used. So I understand that. But it's technically literally not in the Hebrew though. And so since it's not there and it's his name, it makes perfect sense without it. But something, greater than just his name, just Moses receiving the Father's name, Messiah's teachings, speaking of the greater heavenly things of what it means to be coming in his name. Or you have, how do we read? He says in John 17, you have preserved them by your name, or you have kept them in your name. But this is not just speaking of literally knowing the name and that's it. When he's saying you have kept them in your name, the heavenly spiritual things, doing his works, coming in his name to do his true works. But Moses receives the name, and it's not to say it's not important now because this means something greater. That doesn't automatically mean something's not important because there's a greater understanding. It's just greater when you contrast it. It's still important by itself. But, and I interestingly, I read there, I put in Abraham, Isaac, Jacob was not known by specifically. He was only known, we have, I think it's in Exodus, Elohim Almighty, or Elohim, basically Adonai, Elohim, or Elohim Almighty, Master, Elohim or Elohim Almighty, but not known by his name, Yehovah. Then just these other things was known. But what came to mind is a work that people do a lot in this world. Is automatically, because reading that, it just came to mind something that this is the kind of work that's done all the time. Now, because we read that there, nobody else before Abraham could know the Father's name, and nobody knew it. And say because we read what we read in Exodus, that means automatically that nobody before Abraham knew his name. See, that was an addition. That was a spiritual addition to his word of what's not there. When we read in Exodus, that's not there anywhere, is it? This is a test also. That's a question that someone will stomp right over you if you don't ask. If it happens, if you come across something, they'll speak this no good work. And if nothing is said, they'll keep going with it. But if you question it right from the beginning, everything that they were going to say is broken now. And their foundations destroyed with truth. And that'll make someone angry. Even maybe rage, depending on what's happening. So it doesn't say that there. We don't read that nobody else. But I looked a little bit and I put one example of his name being used by someone before Abraham. So there, it doesn't mean that. And there's some evidence and proof that it doesn't automatically mean that, but someone could assume that. It's the kind of works people do, is just assume and add something else. And then it hides the truth for whatever's being spoken of and jumps around and tries to run around and go around the problems and start adding to his word all the time, or taking away too. That was adding to his word, saying automatically, as if we know that nobody else knew his name or said his name. So you can't do that kind of work. But we read, blessed is Yehovah, I think. Is this Noah? That might have been Noah saying that. It's in Genesis, one example of the Father's name right there. He said that name, that when you look up the Hebrew word, it's the Father's name. Why wouldn't he say that? If that's what we read, he said. So, and in Genesis, earlier in Genesis, we even read they begin to call on the name of Yehovah. Calling on his name goes way back to the beginning. We read that in the New Testament, call on his name. We read it elsewhere in Scripture too, but it's right there in the beginning. Called on his name. Going back to the beginning of creation and belief in Messiah is something like is the beginning of creation recreated. But first the natural, then the spiritual. Calling on his name in spirit and in truth living. Coming in his name, doing his works, spiritual works, heavenly works of the heart, coming in his name. The Messiah comes in the Father's name. He lived Father's word. That's what it is. Deeper, higher, heavenly meaning of coming in his name and doing his works. But even Messiah's name, it's connected. He comes in his name with his actual name too. Just both of these things are true. The Father's name is within Messiah's name, like other prophets that we can find and read, look at. I don't know how many, quite a few others also have part of the Father's name in their name. In Messiah's name, the first 3 letters out of the 4 are in his beginning of his name. Why can't people see this in this world? Isn't that some kind of evidence for them? I guess not. that he has the same exact 3 letters, Hebrew letters of the Father's name in the beginning of his name. Out of the 4, he has the Yud, Hey, Vav. Or wait, Yud, Hey, Vav. Yes, Yud, Hey, Vav. And when we look at the Hebrew, the same 2 vowel points. The first 2 vowel points are identical markings. And then they try to say that the Father's name, this specific name, is a mutation and wicked, pagan. But they never thought to look at Messiah's name and see what they see. The same 3 letters, so that, same 3 sounds in general, each letter, but then the vowel point, same 2 identical vowel points. So the first 2 syllables should be identical, because the first 3 letters and first 2 vowel points are identical with the Father's name. It's just a mutation, though, to people. And then teaching the trick that I bought for a little while. But through getting corrected, then he can show us things, and we'll receive truth and some kind of good. Some kind of truth, life, good, correction. It's like you have to go through the messed up thing before you can truly understand and have something or learn something true. Kind of have to go through, and you have to know what the wrong thing is to understand the good. You really do. So then should we sin because of this grace to increase the grace? That's why we read that. Because it has to be so and necessary, should we go and sin on purpose to increase grace? If someone wants to die, they should do that. If someone wants to be dead, they should do that. So by no means. We read, not at all, by no means, not even close. Never do that on purpose. That's just his way. Walking in the Spirit's part of his way under his favor, is that he doesn't condemn you for not having it right instantly. But those that don't believe and trust in him, though, their works are causing death. And if they continue in their evil works and lies, it's a judgment, discernment, death. But we're not condemned instantly for those that believe, for being wrong about something, or, then when we learn something, get corrected, it's like, you have to repent nevertheless, and it's like a little bit of shame. But he didn't just instantly condemn and just send death for judgment, condemnation, because we didn't get it. That was part of getting to the truth. That was the only process. That was the only what Father's will then, which is what someone has to find out for themselves. That was the only way to get to that certain truth, was through that exact way, which included some hiccups, some sin, some deception along the way in order to get to the truth. That was the only way. Couldn't be any other way. That's what keeps happening over and over for myself. To look back, same thing over and over again. There's no other way. Just have to trust the Creator. That's it. The process of him moving you to the truth. If you try to start manipulating this, it's not gonna work out the way it's supposed to. Then start working on our own. It's just going to be a judgment. There'll be a period of judgment and death, trying to creep in, blinding, not learning. So then you have to get corrected from that. It could be a judgment for a little while until he starts working again and you showing you more, lifts you back up for some kind of sin, judgment, still get judged regardless, even if forgiven. That judgment's going to come in some kind of way, shape, or form. So he's just working out this thing perfectly. All these different things happening at once, just insane, stunning, mind-numbing. And all the evil, it's like he has a plan for the good to work out of the evil that you can't foresee. Nobody could foresee. I can't foresee unless he shows you something to see. Otherwise, no one's going to foresee how he's going to work that evil and mistake and turn it into good through the evil, then you look back and say that was the only way to the truth or this good thing, which might make someone think, should I sin so I get this thing quicker? Since it's only through the screw up in darkness he works out something good through the evil. No, it has to continue to be the same. It's just believe in him, follow and walk after the Spirit. He's gonna have to keep doing that, working out something good through the evil, through the darkness, through sin, through whatever, anything. Now when they how many scriptures are rejected? How many? Hundreds, thousands about his name, I mean, it's insane to say it's blasphemy instantly just for saying it. They're lying when they say that they have reverence or this tradition is reverence. It's a lie. 100%. There's no truth in it. Zero. It's against all of his word, which is a lie already. And it's not even possible to be reverenced because it's a lie. It's lying. Lies never are true reverence. They're not doing the true reverence with the heart towards the Creator. You can't do that through evil and through lies directly. If I do evil, that's not any kind of reverence. It's me lying. Say I did some kind of evil and say this is reverence. Let me show you reverence, and then you go do something and it's a lie and evil. No, it's a liar. It's not reverence, but it's just claimed to be reverence. The reverence, protecting, supporting, suppressing truth, defending the lie, and having reverence for the lie and its traditions and trickery. To butcher it, and then you have to patch it up and replace it. Once the Father shows you something, then you could see it was a hack job. You could see the pieces were constructed. That's the only way I know how to sort of say it in words, what you start seeing in spirit, discernment. It looks like it was put together and constructed. It was. That's the only way a lie can happen, is literally construct it in a delusion. Someone's constructing lies. They're putting it together on purpose like that. But they're doing it through darkness, though. Can't see. But it's a construction. Truth just is. It doesn't need to be constructed and glued together and try to fix it. Trying to fix it is implying that it's not truth already. We just have to find out what truth is. We don't have to construct it the way lies are constructed. We don't have to try to make it fit, because that's already a sign of a deceiver. And something being a lie is when you try to make it fit. You're forcing something, therefore it's a lie. It's not truth. Already some kind of lie if it has to be forced to work or to pass without being spotted, to replace the truth without being spotted, hopefully. It's already some kind of lie, massive. One thing not understood over here, therefore you modify and change and corrupt it, his word and truth, to try to make it fit on this thing over here, but just did evil with that thing and made evil out of the second thing now. It's all evil. No good was done. There's no blessing for that. Zero. If there's two things and someone thinks they understand the one thing, but elsewhere in his word it's not understood, then you modify the first thing so that you can fit in the second thing. Now the first thing became unclean and wicked too, just like the second thing. Because you modified the first thing to fit this second thing, and then you call this the truth. And you say, this is how this works. When you forced it to work through lying, changing, corrupting, lying. But then if one thing is being spoken of as true, which is exposing someone else's thing as false, then the same person that constructed the lies will say in their heart that just for proclaiming one truth that we're confident that you're doing evil because it's contradicting what they say it means. When there was no actual evil done by saying this is solid over here, but we don't know about that over there. Don't know yet what it means. How is that evil? They say that's evil. It's happening all the time. All the time. You butcher and modify something and create your own truth by doing that to force it to fit. Truth doesn't, doing good works never does this. If something's so simple and a lot of evidence for its truth and you declare its truth because it's the truth, how is that evil for declaring the truth on one thing? Someone goes, yeah, but what about this? Well, but that doesn't prove anything. It doesn't change anything. I didn't know we needed the answer tomorrow or in 5 seconds. Who's putting that heavy yokes and debt on someone? Who's doing that? Who's requiring in their heart for something to be known tomorrow to understand it? Now see how many people are putting heavy yokes and burdens on people. Once you see something from above, spiritual, what bondage and yokes are, then you'll see his word come alive and just see how powerful his truth is and how he's never wrong about anyone or anything, because everyone's doing whatever it means. If we don't see what it means, then nobody's doing it. Therefore, the Father's a liar and every man is true. That's what has to be then. If we're blind completely, Father's a liar, every man is true in their own mind. We know that's not the truth. What man be liar? Every man, every person, and the Father true, and his word true. Declare one truth if it's simple. If someone has confidence in any given truth within themselves, then you can't let someone else try to corrupt it because you don't know something over there. Don't let people do that to you, because they'll want to do that to you a lot. They'll put that debt on you. If you don't have the answer over here, then you must be confused and lying about what you're confident in. No, that's not true. What they try to say is true is not automatically true, but they want that to be true. They want that to be true. They're not ready to seek the Creator yet, apparently, and say, I don't know, for anything in their heart, right? Not ready yet to deny self, not ready. Who can get too ready for that? He comes like lightning. It's a deadly wound to the beast. Who can get prepared to deny themselves? How much preparation did Jonah get ready for? Throw him over, and off he goes into the sea. Not a whole lot of preparation to deny self, more of a desperation. Father just swallows you, kills you, boom, like that, quick. And then he has to continue to kill us till we're dead, like Adam, till that old man's dead. Day by day, daily, dying daily. As the apostle said, I die daily. Like sheep getting slaughtered all the day long, yet still living. That slaughtering, if it's done through faith, is actually helping the old man die. The enemies help. And I don't just help, I don't even see it working any other way. Through people attacking, through sin, through mistakes, that's how the old man dies. Even through other people's evil towards you, it puts a test on. And if we do what's right, Father cuts off a little more, burns off a little more. He's not going to do that for doing good and learning nothing. You have to learn something and go through something, which usually requires some kind of failure. And then a little more gets cut off, but then the real understanding can come. Otherwise, it can't come. Someone just talks with their mouth and they have no experience. Doesn't this world say? Things about experience, zero experience, and you go around acting like you have 40 years of experience for being a machinist or something. Those are empty words. The Father doesn't do emptiness. You have to actually learn for real and know you have to know what the evil thing is too, to know what the good is. You have to know what it is and how it's not good. He has to show you it's not good. He has to get you to believe it's not good, and get you to not want to truly do that for real. Well, otherwise, none of it's real and none of this is happening. then it's just empty talk. Someone's lying. They're trickery. They're dead inside. They're not speaking truth. Messiah learned through suffering. So if Messiah learned, what we don't have to learn. If he learned, then what does that say about everyone else? Through suffering. Yeah, through the battle between, sin within, the temptations, and then the battle of people, outwardly things coming in, trying to attack. That's a tribulation and suffering. Or seeing people want death for you through their works, proving it. And then you see they don't see that they see. That's a tribulation. They know not what they do. Or did Messiah say those words in vain for no reason at all? There's no such thing as no reason, zero reason. Some kind of reason, whether good or evil. And it's for good. He knew that they knew not what they truly were doing. And the evil just gets blinded, like we read. If they knew the master of glory, think something like that, what killing Messiah would have resulted in and done afterwards, and the power it would give to those that believe, if they knew and understood that, they would keep him alive for an evil intention, so that this greater thing, his spirit being given freely, doesn't come on anyone. If they understood what killing Messiah would do, and then his resurrection, but he has to die though in order to be resurrected. If they understood this at all, even to some little degree, what this would do, they would never kill him. The devil would never kill him. The people would never kill him. Because they would keep him alive, which is a slavery, because they want him dead with their heart. But they would have to keep him alive, which is not doing what you want to do. So that causes rage when you can't do what you want to do. It's slavery to your own self, and rage inside when you can't do what you want to truly do. But they would keep him alive if they understood what the Father would do afterwards, and the power of his spirit being given out to his people. They absolutely wouldn't have killed them. They knew not what they did. They completed the Father's plan. That's how stupid evil is. That's how stupid he made it. Their actual sin fulfilled the Father's plan that was necessary. That's how he works. It's pretty stunning, pretty frightening that nobody can mock him even one time about anything. Zero. It's already taken care of. Nothing anyone can think about or do to mock him and trick him. Nothing. That's already calculated. He already has the working through that evil you're about to do. No matter which one it is, no matter what you think, no matter what's created for some kind of evil to do in someone's mind, it doesn't matter. It's already a working out from you doing that, anybody, us doing that. Hopefully we're not wanting to do that, but I'm just to bring out an understanding. No matter what the Pharisees and all of them there at the time did, there's nothing they could have done. They killed him through their actual wickedness and sin. But it worked out something amazing that had to be so, which is Messiah's death and resurrection, and a lifetime of learning what it means, continually. But just in short, his death and resurrection. Slain from the foundation of the world. How? Through people hating him and killing him. That's how he was slain from the foundation of the world. Why does Messiah say that even? Why do we read that? He was in the plan of Elohim, of the Father, before it happened, long before it happened, from the foundation of, before the foundation. It was already a plan to be done before the world was, before the foundation of the world, meaning. And believers also were appointed, predestined. All these things the Father knows. He knows, and does them. and yet he's real. It's working right in through the creation, through his people. It is pretty stunning. Someone thinks they can try to figure that out in 2 days. You know, not good. They better not try to do that. Instead, just seek the truth from him and wait. And then he builds us up a little here and there, not try to figure something like this out on our own, and then just start slandering and judging his word and attacking everything. That'll receive a heavy judgment, death, penalty, spiritually. And that's what I see with people attacking continually with no reverence and a lot of carnality, just with one thing, let alone millions of things that could go wrong. Just with one thing, it's being done with quite crazy. Looking at the works, I haven't seen good. I haven't seen good fruit from anyone attacking his name. I just see nothing but carnality. That's all I've seen so far. Continually. You know, I've seen blinding continually, where you check out what someone says, and then if he's given you some kind of sight and understanding, you go, wow, this is literally wrong. This is blind. This is doing evil. This is using his word deceitfully. They're blind. So when that's happening, that's definitely not proof that what they're saying is all true. There's proof that it's lying, at least somewhere, about something, at the very least. I haven't seen any other fruit yet from attacking the Father's name. I haven't seen anything else. I've seen blinding. Nobody can answer to. They create these desperate things with scripture. Like I saw an example. I think it's in Hosea somewhere, 9 something. It says that they will not call him, Father saying they will no longer call me some kind of Hebrew word, which is meaning like master, but another Hebrew word name, which is meaning husband. They won't just call me master. That's the connection with Abraham I saw just a little while ago. Like, oh, that's right. Okay, there's something to that. He always called him Adonai, Elohim, but not Yehovah specifically. He's not just some carnal master. It's not just carnality, but it's to know him now in spirit versus before. And I think Messiah says something about this. You're no longer called slaves or servants. Yes, he does say that, but friends. Well, the teachings in scripture, there it is with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. As we can see, representing the natural man, carnality first with them. But not calling just master, but husband, which is like, close relationship to know, and not just a master telling people what to do and that's it. No, it's not like that with the Creator or Messiah, but slave or servant, but friends also, not just the slave and servant. Both are, both are true. Not one or the other, both, but just definitely not only slave or servant, and that's it. But they tried to say, because it says they will not call me by, and this word's like one time, seems like some kind of form of Baal or whatever, one-off, Baali or something like that, some pagan name. So then when their trickery was, that's what the Hebrew says. His word says they will not call me anymore by this Hebrew word Baali. And then its definition and meaning is basically my Lord or Lord, which is pretty frightening that that's what everyone calls him. My Lord. My Lord. That's the name that he says that they will not call him, his people. I mean, they will not call me Baali, which is connected to another word that also means Lord, like Baal equals Lord. Well, this is like my Lord. It's basically the similar meaning master, but not calling him this very specific pagan word and name, which is meaning my Lord. It's like the pagan of another spirit saying, my master. It's not just about the word, but it is just amazing how true it is anyways, that's what many are saying and doing. The many is saying, my Lord, Jesus Christ, my Lord, my Baali. Well, okay. I mean, who cares about that? No big deal. That's what goes on in the mind. It's not seeing the heart, not seeing, worshiping the Creator in spirit and in truth. But their proof, this thing that tried to prove Yehovah is wicked and pagan name and false, laughing and mocking. I mean, some serious mockery and laughing, just a lot of pride going on, severe pride, and they're blind, completely blind. Their proof was stupid and blind. That's their wage for attacking his name, is to be stupid and blind and in death and darkness. That's their reward, to be blind, part of it, to be dumb, to be condemning its own self and deceive. That's its reward for attacking Yehovah. Yes, it is. Or any sin or evil. That's what part of the reward is using his word completely blindly and deceitfully. It's part of the reward for doing evil. If that's the reward, what's the punishment when it comes in their life? You know, so if the reward is no good, what's the more harsher judgment and punishment when it comes for some serious sin? But when you look up that word in the Strongs, Baali or whatever, it'll say my Lord, but it also say, there's not much, but it will say somewhere there, symbolically the name of Yehovah, or Jehovah with the J, it always says, but it says symbolically the name of that name. So they took that. It was almost like it was there for the devil to take and try to, it's unbelievable. It's almost like it was stuck there in like parentheses, symbolically the name of, they don't see why they're reading that at all. And because they blindly read symbolically the name of Jehovah, that this specific name is the Baali, not to call him Yehovah. Oh, pretty tricky until someone sees exactly what they did. And it's not so tricky anymore, is it? It's as simple as asking this question now. Where do you read in Hosea there? The Father saying not to call me Yehovah. Where? Where does it say Yud He Vav He, his name, not to call him? Do they read that there? No, they don't. They read not to call him Baali, not Yehovah. But because they looked up a definition, and in Strong's there happens to be some odd little phrase in there that's a symbolic name of Yehovah. That's their proof that you shall not. That's the proof. They're saying that the Father is saying not to call him this specific name because of that right there. 6,000 something times. This one little worthless thing did away with the Father 6,000 something times, and he's wrong that many times, and did away with all of them. All those witnesses that always say the same Yud He Vav He with the same vowel points. Right? This one worthless thing, it's such a prideful, evil work, standing up in the skies on the rubies to just say one phrase in the Strongs and use it for trickery, and then imply that we're reading the Father to say, not say, they will not say, do not call my name, they will not call me Yehovah. Does not say that. That word's not there, like they're implying. It's not there. And it's working. It's tricking people. They're literally believing it. People are. I don't know how many, but the numbers, greater or smaller. Could be millions for some, thousands, hundreds, whatever. Many are believing it. It doesn't matter. Just that one trick and lie. They going to repent for that deceitful lie, that wrong thing that they, let's say that's not his name to bring out a point. Let's say Yehovah is not his name. That was an evil work still. That proved nothing. It was still evil regardless. How much more evil if that's the true name they're talking about then, like I do believe now? How much more evil does it make it? If it's evil without it knowing, or let's say it's not, or someone does, how much more evil if it absolutely is? Why does it say symbolically? You know, I just have to ask the question, why does it say that on that one word? Is that some kind of authority automatically? That does that overrule 6,000 times of what his name is? That we can look up the word name 6,000 whatever times. It overrules all of them automatically? Or is it that they don't understand the one verse and the 6,000 are true? I wonder what's more likely. The Father being wrong 6,000 times and man being right, which makes him wrong 6,000 times, or man being wrong about the one thing and he thinks it overrides 6,000 witnesses. That's a lot of pride. That's a serious pride. So watch out for it, because it'll just be judged and they'll go more blind and keep doing more evil. It doesn't get better, it gets worse. If someone doesn't have that fear ever in their point in their life, I don't see how they're going to ever come out of death and lying and delusion and to come to know the Creator better and more and grow. They never have that fear to some degree. How are they? Because the fear is supposed to be so you don't sin. We read this. That's for the good that it can work when it's proper. We read that. They can fear him so that they don't sin, so that you may not sin. This is the good fear, not the Adam Eve cowardly fear, because every coward, all the cowardly and fearful will have their part in the lake of fire. This is not the good fear. That would be a contradiction all the way, spiritually, if that's what it was. The fear that we're supposed to have, and then someone could try to say, oh, but the fearful and cowardly go to the lake of fire, judgment. So now your God is stupid because he's telling you to fear you all over the place. But the fearful and cowardly go to the lake of fire. Your God is stupid. See, that was stupid what they just did. No, the Creator's never stupid at any time. That was stupid what they did. They're stupid. That was a stupid work and evil and blind with no understanding of fear. No understanding of either good or evil fear yet. It just thinks it understands what fear is. It's just an image. You have to learn what each one is. You can't just be born with it. The person, if someone did that, they just prove that they don't know. For at the very least, they don't know what that means at all. They proved it, because that's evil. Because the Father's not stupid and contradicting like that. So they prove that they don't know what it means. So then they attack what they don't understand. Very common. This is, attacks what it doesn't know and see and understand. And by doing that, someone can rise and make themselves look wise, and people will believe that image around them. Yeah, your God is stupid. Good point, bro. God, I'm good. Yeah. And they'll worship that image while it's doing complete foolishness. And then the Father owns them through a judgment. They have to hide like crickets over and over again. Got to stay quiet when his judgment strikes back strong. Stay real quiet. Don't tell anyone the death you're in. Stay quiet about that, even though you can't hide it. Even though they pour it out through the music industry, nothing about death, lamenting, and sorrow, and how much sin they do. Has anyone noticed what the music lyrics are actually, what they're speaking of constantly? Is their sin and lamenting and torment that they're in, because our Father's true and every man's a liar. They're giving glory to the Creator through the Pharaoh way without realizing it. There is a way for that. They're not doing it with the intention, but it's doing it anyways. with them they prove his word is true. That's how they give him glory without giving him glory, because they're proving his power and his judgment, and his word is true. Yeah, I will make them lament. Yeah, even when they sing, they'll sing with the sorrowful heart. That's why they're singing, instead of actually the true joy that he only could give. The worldly sorrow heart, because sorrow is not evil by itself. Worldly sorrow, massive difference than Elohimly sorrow. 180 difference, and they're both sorrow. You have to learn the two different things, or else we can't see them. The world only already knows the worldly sorrow is for its works. That's all it does. But it's not learning how the serpent wisdom works either, though, truly. You have to be wise as a serpent, which means we learn how the evil works and how the carnal mind and evil thinks and why it does what it does. That's matching the serpent so it doesn't deceive you. If you're under the serpent, it can deceive you. If you're not equal with it for understanding, then it can take advantage of you and deceive you. If it's a little smaller, it can bite you, maybe win the battle and deceive someone. Be at least as wise as a serpent, gentle as a dove. The wisdom of this world is foolishness, so you have to understand the wisdom of this world, the serpent wisdom, the devil's wisdom, so-called, the knowledge, so-called. That knowledge going back to the beginning, that knowledge, so-called, or is it science? Science, like, stirring something in a jar, science. It can apply to that, absolutely, because there's a lot of lies and corruption and everything going on with science, of course, too. Tons of it. But that's not the meaning. The false science, which the King James one time decides to translate that word knowledge into science, and every other time it's knowledge except that time for some weird reason. Maybe they had something against science, the translators, a little bit of bias against science. So they said, well, I don't know, this is kind of similar, close science, it's like knowledge, so we'll put that in there. I don't know. But it definitely applies to it. Applies to anything and everything. False knowledge. Now no one can see him and live. So then it's for our admonition to learn what that means, that Moses saw the glory of the Creator, but not his face. No one can see him and live. Moses would just die instantly, but then he would be dead. Messiah paid the death penalty so that we don't have to. If we die, we're dead. But now there's a way to die to that old man in Messiah, so that someone can see the Father and live, because it required a death. It required that death penalty to see him. That's what he did. Death to carnality, death condemning the flesh and sin, and paying that penalty of death, paying that penalty of physical death for the law, and paying that death penalty for death for the resurrection, paying the penalty death for all the spiritual wickedness and sin. Now we have to actually do the Creator's will and live for the Creator, not just say words. It has to be worked out now. For anyone that believes, has to be worked out to the end. Or else that plan, or else that foreknowledge and predestination won't apply for someone. How do they know whether it's true for them? If they're going to be prideful for it, then they're going down. So maybe they never were truly called to be chosen. His people actually have to believe this and be humble and not prideful about it. That's part of the way of the elect, is obeying every word, learning it and doing it, and not mocking or going up in pride, because that's for those that don't believe. Then they'll do that, get lost, stay lost, don't know where they come from or where they go. They didn't know where Messiah came from. They didn't know where he was going either. That's why we read. Is he going to kill himself? That's what they thought about him not knowing where he's going. What is he talking about? We know Moses. We know where he is, who he is, and where he comes from. Comes from Elohim. But as for this fellow, we don't know who he is or where he comes from. They just spoke the truth. But they didn't do that out of seeking truth. They just poured out the truth that they'd have no clue, but they thought they did wisdom there because they're so prideful in their own things and their knowledge of carnality and their wickedness and self-righteousness and Moses and what they think they understand with Moses, and they stand with Moses, that they poured out truth, but they didn't do it out of truth. They just exposed themselves without even realizing it. When they said, we don't know who he is and where he comes from, they said that out of pride, but they did speak the truth there. Well, Messiah tells that woman, yeah, you spoke the truth. No, she didn't. Can someone see what this means and understand it? You speak truly about this, for you had this many husbands. And, however else we read that, someone understanding why Messiah said what he said there to her. She wasn't wanting to tell the absolute truth. Messiah prophesied. But she just ended up saying the truth. I mean, well, he just ends up saying, yes, I'm trying to remember how it is written exactly. You say rightly that you have no husband. And then he starts saying about the multiple times, right? But she only said, no, I have no husband. She didn't say that out of truth. She's hiding things when she said that. Messiah takes her words and says, you speak truth. You say it's right. Can someone see what this is? I just see the insane offense for what this is. Nobody works like that in this world. This is not right. This is evil to this world. This is not legitimate. What Messiah did right there was absolutely evil to carnal man. They don't accept that. They would be offended for what this means if they could see it. If he said nothing else, she would have just stopped with, I have no husband. Why did she say she has no husband? Because she's a player. She didn't say that a truth, but she used it to try to hide the sin and make it look like truth. So Messiah says, you rightly say you don't have a husband. I'll tell you why you said that. You had this many. That's why you really said that. Did she see that? No, she didn't even see that. Nope. If she saw it, she wouldn't have got excited. It's kind of funny. It's insane how his truth works. I don't know if I explained it very good, but it's kind of hard to explain it. Didn't say it out of the absolute truth. No husband. What else did I have in the description? I don't know. Just wanted to bring out that work, how it's self-condemning to be saying it's sacred and then see the trickery. It's tricky, deceptive. People make themselves look like they have reverence all the time. You can't see what they're really doing. The image is going to work on people. They'll believe that they have reverence and are doing good and are good. Oh, but if people could see what people are doing, it's like swallowing a watermelon. It's surely going to kill you if it could be swallowed. Swallow a camel? Well, there's something to it. That's how stupid the work is spiritually, swallowing a camel. This is what you do, he said to them. Swallow a camel, but you strain at a gnat. You just gulp and destroy and devour massively important things, and the heart of everything, the most important things, you swallow like a snake swallows a rat hole with no regard and devours it. But when it comes to the tiny things, which all have their importance and truth, but now in contrast to the greater, they're lesser. But when it comes to these tiny things and carnal things, small things, which is never to say they're worthless, but in contrast to the greater things, they can be worthless if they're not being done and the greater things are being broken. But with these tiny little things, you strain at them. That's all you do. Strain at a gnat. You focus on that. You make a ministry out of it. You speak about that only. That's it. The small things, and you fight over these small things and divide over nothingness. But you swallow the camel. You devour as if it doesn't even exist. Gulp all the huge important things of the heart. Like he said, mercy, forgiveness, justice. Just swallow it whole. See how backwards man is in everything. When the big things are supposed to be important, swallow it. When the little things are supposed to be in their place, make it huge, make it everything, blow it up to the camel size. Incredible. It's so much weight, so many ways to sin, so many ways to lie. So if someone doesn't like a truth, then what they could do is just they'll try to set up you and say that you're straining at a gnat. They want to try to prove that on you, which is actual evil. It's already evil. It's already over. To want to do that and try to do that with the intention of the heart is already evil. That's not truth. You're coming at you wanting you to sin and hoping to catch it. That's not sin. Everything they say, it's not justified in heaven. It's not accepted. It's not standing. They can think it stands and think they proved something, but if they did that with evil intent, it's not standing. Father won't make it stand. It's going to collapse on them. Judgment will come right back on them. If someone does evil to them, the judgment won't come on the same way in that moment for whatever someone did. So then, the only way for that to be proper is by doing something that's good. If you don't do good, this other good thing won't happen, which is a strong, righteous judgment that comes back on someone for doing you evil. If you do them evil back, you repay. So he won't repay. Not going to repay that time the same way he would have. Because you did evil, now he can't do this good thing. Won't do this good thing. Because that would be blessing your evil or our evil. So if we do one evil instead of the good thing, then he won't do this other good thing now, which is not going to be good in the sight of the one getting the judgment. But this is the truth, though. This is, from our perspective for understanding that judgment won't come back on them like it would have. But if you do what's right, then it will. You're supposed to love the enemies. And then the judgment comes on them if you do that. So backwards with everything from man. Man is backwards. That's why his way is backwards from man, because man's backwards. What does man do? Oh, the Father's backwards. His way is backwards. thinks it got just as much proof for that. Just flip it around real quick. No, you're backwards. No, you're backwards. That's the enmity. Speaking out of truth and knowledge from above, or speaking out of pride, needing it to be true desperately to defend itself. Two different things. One is good and one is evil. It's blasphemy to say that saying his name is blasphemy. It's like a circle of destruction and self-condemnation. It's blasphemy to say that to tell people that saying his name just by itself, that's it, is blasphemy. And so therefore we reverence it with sacredness. Well, you can't actually do that by breaking all his word and doing evil. That's not possible. Their claim is a lie. Okay, what does it mean? Is it emptiness when we say it's a lie? No, it means that their heart literally has nothing to do with what they say they're doing. They are not giving the Father any glory, reverence, praise, or worship, or anything at all when they're doing the evil thing. It cannot happen. It's not happening for real within themselves. That's why we say it's a lie and can't be true. This is like this is how it works. This is the authority from above. His truth is authority. It's like his judgments are authority. He never wavers on it, never changes. Messiah says you cannot do something. That means you cannot do it. Cannot do what? Carnality, the image of the beast. He's talking about the real heavenly true work within, and true worship cannot be done. Can't. So if someone's claiming they are and you see them loving money, obviously, they don't worship the Creator and they don't love him. It doesn't matter if they say it till they're a smurf that with their mouth. You cannot do it. It's not possible. It's literally not possible. They don't teach this in there. When Messiah says cannot, it means cannot. It's not an opinion, it's authority, it's the truth. Now that discernment has to be true, though, that someone loves money or this or that. That has to be true also. Because when he says cannot love money, everything has to be true. The love of money has to be real in order for cannot worship the Creator. If you love money, that love of money has to be true for real inside within someone for the other thing to be true, which is you can't have the Creator, can't love the Creator and money. If you worship the one, despise the other, fond of the one, love the other, hate the one, fond of the other, despise, two examples of the opposite things. Either despise the one or love the other. That's it. No amount of saying, I love God, I love God, I love God means anything to the Creator. There's no reality if someone is doing continual evil in their heart and they're claiming that. It's not happening. They're just saying the words. That's not actually doing what those words mean. That applies for everyone. Not doing what those words mean in the heart can't be done. It's amazing. All day long, earthly things people break and contradict, but nothing in heaven is broken, and nothing skips a beat ever at any time, and never is wrong at any time about anything for anyone. For every second everyone breathes, never wrong. The Creator's never wrong. His judgment's never unrighteous. He never blesses sin. See, but it has to be real sin. And that understanding of what real sin has to be understood, and it has to be done in order to say he never blesses sin. Someone can talk about what's not sin and then apply that scripture to it, and they just lied because what they said sin was, it's not. Or vice versa. Or say something is sin and it's not, or say something is not sin and it is. Everything has to be true for the other true thing to be true and work. Yes, it does. All of it has to be true. As soon as there's one false thing or lie, it's some kind of judgment. It's not going to be a blessing now. Can't be so. What is a blessing to someone? Money? Well, if so, I mean, they're carnal. We're not carnal Israel anymore. That's the world's blessings. That's the revelation. That is the carnal man's blessings, love of the world and worldly carnal things. That's 1,500 years of Israel thinking that's what blessings are, because that's mankind right there. That's what blessings are to him. Messiah is not talking about those blessings. He's like, that's just right under the rug. Seek the kingdom, and all those things that they seek, he'll just add to you for whatever you need. You're not supposed to seek them at all. We're not supposed to seek them with the heart like the nations do. That's their blessings. That's our footstool. That's their heaven. We step on their heaven. That's the earth to get the real blessings. Just this footstool. Speaking about the heavenly blessings, heavenly things. Carnally minded is death. That's earthly things. Carnally of the flesh things minded is death. Because that, why? Because if someone's actually thinking of carnal worldly things constantly, which is death, it's death because you have to break his spiritual law constantly in order to be doing that down there. If someone's loving the world and thinking of the world and carnally minded all the time, you're breaking all these laws. They're breaking these laws absolutely. They can't worship the Creator at the same time. In spirit, they're breaking all these things. Yes, they are. They're committing spiritual fornication. They see it? No. It's the truth. Carnally minded is death for a reason. It's not for no reason. If it's being done, it's all sin. It's breaking everything else that's true and good. So you can't have straddle both worlds like people think they can do and are doing constantly. They can be of Messiah and of the world. You know, people have said this, but this is what many do. It says the lukewarm, trying to be lukewarm, but there's no way for that. It's vomited out. They want to be that 1 foot over here and 1 foot in the grave. Could straddle both death and life. Get the best of both worlds. The lukewarm water, not hot or cold. Get the best of both. Mix it. Yeah, but that is the highest abomination and sin, is the mixed lukewarm thing. He'd rather you be cold or hot than this thing, this abomination, lukewarm. He'd rather us be cold or hot or cold. Obviously hot for truth, but to bring out how bad lukewarm is, you have to say, I'd rather you be hot or cold. And someone could say he's teaching to be cold. No, he's not. You have to sound like that in order to bring out how wicked the lukewarm thing is. You have to sound like that many times. Someone could try to take advantage of it and say he's teaching to be cold and hot. It doesn't matter if we're cold or hot. He says, I'd rather you be cold, and then try to take that and create a teaching with it. And they lie. When it's an example, when it's a contrast, a comparison to bring out the sin of the lukewarm, rather be hot or cold, because cold is at least cold. Hot is hot. At least the cold's not mixed over there. This mixed thing is the worst thing. It's the easiest way. It's the path of least resistance spiritually. Yes, it is. There's a little more resistance for cold, isn't there? Surely for hot, but lukewarm is the easiest thing. The most comfortable Father doesn't allow that comfortable carnality, not this carnal comfort that people want. Can't be so like that now. If someone's seeking that, they're seeking death, sin. How come they can't see something so simple, people? Why can't they see a few hundred years and it's not been corrected and exposed by this world still proclaiming this abomination for the sacred name? This work is still being accepted, that it's a blasphemy to say his name. How stupid is this? This is evil. It's a sin to read his word, huh? Just all by itself. It's a sin now. That would have to be so. It would, if that was true, that means it's a sin. Every time we read his name there in his word, then it's a sin. That means the Creator is telling us to sin. That's what their implication is. That's what their doctrine teaches. Yes, it does. Spiritually teaching this. These are the pathways. This is what it's literally teaching. They don't have to ever say it. People are already doing it in their heart if they believe that in their heart. They're already doing it. You can't not do it if you believe this lie or any lie. You have, once it's discerned, you have to do these things. It's telling someone to do that without saying the words. That's how they work in the dark, secret. Doctrines never mean what they say or what they get people to think they mean. They never mean that, ever, never. No, never. It's the alternative devil definition. That's what they sell you. It never means what they say. And they don't mean what they say, and they never say what they mean. It's all deceptive. Secrecy in the dark. Can't tell you their true intentions, because then it would reveal their evil and that would break their image. The only thing they care about be a bad image. Can't tell you their intentions, because then you would have to go, well, I'm doing this because I hate this person and viciously hate them and hope they go to hell and burn forever and hope they die. You would have to start speaking out your intentions and heart, which would make you look bad in this world. Can't do that. To hide that. And hide it. So it is. It's implying things, for real. It's implying things. Why so hated? What is causing that? Why is anything that's good and true so hated universally? Isn't it because his word is true? That's why it's hated everywhere, everyone. The believers will know that the Father gave Messiah all things. That's what he said. They'll know. And that his word was also given by the Father to Messiah, his word, and all things were given. They'll know. To believe what this means in the heart and spirit, believing it. He's not talking about pretending or masquerading and creating images and fakery. He's talking about the truth, real things, not tricks, not magician's tricks, lying wonders. What is a lying wonder? It has to do with some kind of deception and evil. It has to try The only way it can look wondrous is it has to try to do some kind of evil and deception. That's the lying wonder to people. That's the amazing thing, is deceiving them. That's a wonder to them. Hello? Anybody home? That is the masquerade of the Father's amazing things and wonders. They can't do the real thing or understand it. So therefore you have to do evil to create the image of a wonder. But it's a lying wonder. You don't do it the Father's way and you try to look like you're doing it, you have to do evil. There's no choice left. Period. You try to look humble for an image and you try to look humble to people, you have to do evil to look like it. Therefore, that's not humble. How many people are trying to look humble? If they're trying to look humble with an intention and get people to specifically believe that about themselves, you have to do evil to try to look humble, because it's a sin to try and look humble with no heart, without ever living it and doing what it means, but just trying to look like it is the sin. You have to do evil to look like something on purpose every time. What doesn't it apply to? Nothing. It applies to everything. Stop trying, start dying, denying self. This is the true way. Stop thinking we can do it. That's the truth. That's the resting from our works. Stop thinking we can do it and stop trying from our own self and pride and self-righteousness, all of it. Then, then a little bit of good comes from him, a little bit of more good for doing more good comes for doing good. It keeps growing. But the lies keep growing also in the other direction. One good step to do good and believe more will create more good. One step to do evil, you have to do more evil now, and then you have to cover that which is doing more evil. Then you have to cover that which is covering evil is doing evil, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. Which one does someone want to be? A giant wicked, or fathers were giant righteousness? Which one? Grow into that or the other? The unrighteous. What kind of hatred is that for the Creator anyways? His name's not in Bible translations, Old Testament or New. That's what's popular, is replacing it. It's interesting how it's done, though. His name's replaced with the title for Lord, but then it's the same word for master in Hebrew. So it's Lord, Lord, master, or his name. And then in the New Testament, it's replaced with Lord. Same thing, same end result. And that same word is also meaning for master. So it's either master or the Father's name, but it's Lord, Lord. But how they got there is obviously a little different. Same result, same stupid, evil sin, but how it did it is a little different that I can see. Because with the Old Testament, all of these times, it's just some crazy, stupid tradition. His name, you look it up, and that's actually his name there. But in the New Testament, in the Greek, his name's not in the Greek. So how it ended up with the same result, but slightly different way of doing it. But the exact same result, 2 lords in the New and 2 lords in the Old Testament. Same exact thing. And one is meaning master and one is his name, and you don't know which one's which. So what do? Well, they put all caps so that you can know which Lord is which. That's called reverence. They made a distinguishing thing, didn't they? Isn't distinguishing differences righteousness, to rightly divide? And if something is different about something else, there must be something different about it, and you separate them. Two identical things can't mean the same thing. Two different things that are identical and they have the same exact meaning, and you could just interchange them. So what's the purpose of one of them? There is no purpose, but that's never the truth. There is something different about something that's different. That's the truth. If it's something a little different, it has some kind of different meaning. Something is a little different about it, not just interchange the same things. And one literally means nothingness. Well, why does it exist then? I don't know. That's how the Father did all this work. That's what they think they did. Two vowel points that are identical in their markings, but they're both exactly the same. There's no difference at all, and you just interchangeably use them whenever you want. So sometimes it uses this, or this combination, or these two both, or these two both, or a combination. And it's just random pick at will, and there's no difference at all. Stupid. That's a lie. That's the mixed work, mixing it and saying there's no difference. That's what evil is. It doesn't know what good or evil is. No, it doesn't know either, because if it did, it would be two things. Because the good is mixed with the evil, or because two things that are different are both mixed in one, it doesn't know what either is. It's proof. It doesn't know. How does someone know what the good thing is and the evil thing is if it's combined as one lie, and now there's no distinguishing difference between two things? It proves both the good and evil is not known. Both. But the enemy says, you shall know. Yeah, you will know everything. Be like the Creator after you sin. In your delusional mind, in our delusional mind, in pride, not in reality. It's a trick. It's a lie. That's what people will believe in pride. What the devil says, that's what they'll believe in their heart. But it's not the truth. It's not real. We don't know. That is to be given. Seek truth. We don't just know. Break the Creator's command and voice, and you shall know good and evil. Liar. Adam and Eve sinning proves that they don't know, and they didn't know afterwards. They didn't just know what good and evil was. Boom. That Father rewarded them with all that. It's a trick. It's a lie. They didn't know afterwards. They didn't actually understand all of good and all of evil, spiritual things in the heart. They didn't know. Come and sin, and you shall learn good and evil. It's stupid. I see it for what it is. It's not that tricky anymore. And yet it's tricky because it can come in all kinds of forms. But this thing is a lie that we read in Genesis. It's a lie. It's because it's coming from the enemy. It's all lies. No truth in it. It's twisted. Some kind of trick and masquerade. That's all it can be. So then, any sin can be made to look pleasing and good in someone's sight, and they think they'll get a reward for sinning. That time will come when they kill you and think they're doing Elohim a service. That's how blind someone gets. They'll murder you and think they're doing good to what Elohim, what Creator. They'll say that they're doing God a favor. Are they actually doing a favor to the Creator if they're murdering his people? No, that's just what they think. Don't we read that? That they'll think they do Elohim a service. That's what they claim. That's what they're going to believe and say they believe they're doing, but it's not real. They're not doing the Creator any service at all for good. They're doing the evil. What Elohim is it then? Then it's the Elohim of this world. That's the one they're doing a favor and service to. Kill, steal, and destroy. That's called good. Go and kill them. That's good. And I get you. You believe it's good. And then everybody believes it's good to do evil and call light dark and dark light spiritually. And then there's people doing it literally. What's an extra strong judgment to do that literally? It's a lot of binding we have to come out of. How do you call literal day and night and night day? Literally, earthly. What is it calling it in the heart for real? Definitely nothing good. If we can't figure out the earthly thing. Supposed to rest from our prideful old man's works, but wait till it's dark, then we'll rest. We don't do good works, which is called daylight, doing good works in the day, meaning the Father's good works. Light being the good works, and that they're seen and known. It's not hiding, it's not in darkness. They're doing good works during the day. No good works during the day, and when night comes, then we'll do works. And we'll call this rest, calling good evil and evil good. When night comes, now we're resting from our works, right? You're resting from doing any good. That's your rest, confused world. But then when the night comes, spiritually speaking, the doing the works of darkness, resting from good, instead of resting from our evil old man's works, so that we do good works during the day. And when night comes, you don't work, because works of darkness are always evil. They just start beginning their so-called rest when night comes. It's a massive contradiction in the heart. And these things need to be, seen and given. Just wonder how much more I have to see. We're only thinking and talking about in our own, even in our own mind, real things and seeing them. It must start looking more and more insane in this world. That's all we're really seeing, and the other thing is dying. And we're not looking at that as the heavenly thing. That's the only thing, that's all the lower things, but the heavenly things is like all you start seeing anymore. How does he make you see all these things, but you don't see any physical thing? Nothing physical appeared that's brand new. And yet all these things seeing. What is that? In spirit, they're real. And if we can't see anything at all, then that's called being blind. Then if someone's speaking about something we can't see, then they look like they're stupid, talking about nothingness. And we just talked about ourselves. We're doing the stupid nothingness then, if we're not doing good. It's the blind natural man that's dealing with worthlessness and stuff that's no good and worthless. Flesh, which profits what? Nothing. But then the heavenly things to them profit nothing. What good does it do to serve the Creator? Don't we read? What good is it? Heck, especially if I can become rich and famous by doing evil. Seems like the better way. It's got to be enticing, doesn't it? Constantly. Because the truth can't, Father's truth can't, he doesn't do that. The darkness can be as enticing as it wants. It can multiply this through sin, because it can lie, cheat, steal, kill, destroy. It can make the image incredibly enticing. But truth, there's only through truth. There's no falsehood There's no trickery. There's no get rich quick, physically or spiritually. There's nothing like this. This can't be done because truth doesn't lie against itself. So it's not going to look so good. Why would someone want to do good if you can get a bunch of carnal things for doing evil? At least have a chance. Someone could hope for that. I'm just speaking out of what the natural mind would think. It's even working carnally too. Here, do all these things that drain your physical energy. What's the fix? Just a crap load of caffeine. But if you didn't do the first thing, you wouldn't have this problem, and you wouldn't need the second thing, which is a bunch of caffeine, right? Just how all sin works. This is the fix. The fix is so that you can continue to do all these other first things. The fix, the second thing, or third or fourth or fifth, is so that you can continue doing those other things, which will make people money. No doubt. It'll be more money made. Someone's gain carnally off of someone's hurt carnally or spiritually, both. That ain't got 1 hour of sleep. Okay. Cocaine. There. That'll promote getting no sleep ever. See, that's not loving someone. People call that love. And if you don't partake, then they get angry and judge you, don't they? Who doesn't get angry inside at the very least if you don't do what they want you to do? Say, no, I'm good, thank you. Or no thanks at all. Not thank you so much, but just no. Get the point. They get angry often, people get angry. Why? Because a judgment happened. Because you did what was right, if it was done right, and they want to do something that's not right, and they wanted you to do something that's not right. And when you don't, you did right to them by not hating them, not doing the evil thing, not hating them either. Then the judgment comes back and they get angry instantly. There's an instant judgment. They don't even know why they're getting angry. Boom, the creator goes, boom, judgment starts raging inside. If you attack, that's what they wanted anyways. They love it. Love war, love wrath, attack back, and then that judgment doesn't come on them the same way. There's some good incentive, isn't there, to do good? Part of that incentive, if we do it, is no wrath. That'll just be on that side over there. It won't come back on us. Is it evil to have good incentive to do good? No, it's not. There's no such thing as evil incentive to do actual good and not evil for no corrupt intentions. That means you actually have to do the good thing. There's no evil in incentive for doing actual good with his things. Never. It's not evil to do good. Well, they'll make you feel like it's evil to do good all the time. That's what the world does, puts pressure on people, makes it feel like you're doing evil if you don't do evil. Makes you feel evil if you do good. Constant. I think that's it. Crazy. What kind of work and proof is that? Man, Don't call the Creator his name, the name that's used 6,000, whatever, how many times. Don't call, he's saying not to call him that name because of why is the blinding so strong? Because there was some kind of evil done. And the stronger the blinding, the stronger sign for a stronger evil and bigger blasphemy. Definitely not happening because truth and good is being done to be that blind and do away with all of his word because of one trick and verse that doesn't mean what they say it means at all. Zero. They won't find anywhere in his word that says, don't call me. And then if you look up the name, it's his name. They're not going to find it. No, they're not. But that's what someone claims out there, that they found that because they said it says symbolically, because to the rebellion, their replacement of his name is Lord, Baali, my Lord, whatever. That's their replacement because they're doing evil and teaching that that's good. So for them, that's their symbol for the Father's name. Hello? They're talking about themselves. They just read about themselves in Strong's definition symbolically for Yehovah. They just don't understand why we read that, do they? It's for evil that we read that. It's on the evil side. Their replacing of his name, that false thing, is their replacement and symbol for his name. No, it can't be like that. It can't be. Someone would say. They never give you a second witness. Nothing they do is legitimate. They'll think they give you witnesses. How do you tell someone it's not? That was blind, and you can't do that. That there's no reality to what they're doing. Therefore, they're in judgment. It's not a freebie to be doing that kind of evil and think no judgment's already come back on someone. No, you don't exist. That's what's going to happen most of the time. If someone does warn them, tries to tell them, it just, once again, nothing is going on, quiet. They just ignore you, they forget, the seed goes away, and they keep doing it. Same thing, same teaching, they'll keep going. Didn't even look into it. Didn't even look into it at all. What a strong judgment to actually read somebody's words that proves what they're doing is simply blind and wrong, and here's how, and then still do that next week and a month from now, year from now, without ever looking into it, and they read the words or heard the words from someone out there and gave scripture, gave some proof, showed how it's wrong and all this thing, and no, nothing. Man, that is a frightening thing. A fool truly does hate correction. A fool cannot be corrected, we read. Hopefully someone wants to be corrected if that's what needs to happen. You have to pray that that's given, or else if not, then we're the fool that never receives correction and hates it. People will change because these words are being said. No, his word has to be proven true. His power has to be proven true. The vast majority of the people anywhere, if they heard anything from any people giving them truth, will continue to do it. Yes, they will. The Father has to show us how a fool cannot be corrected, doesn't he? Is he going to be found a liar? Most fools can be corrected. Most of them, some of them, sometimes many, sometimes not as many. Is that going to be proven that he's wrong? Does anyone ever think about this? One verse is on the Creator's name. One little verse. Is it going to ever be proven wrong, that one verse? Well, the world thinks so already. Talking about truth, though, and reality, and everything to be exposed someday. Is it going to actually be proven that he was wrong at any time about that one verse? Is there going to be one soul that was an actual fool that loved correction and got corrected? Is there going to be one? Just one? Because if there's one, that means that word was a lie. Creator was a liar. Takes a miracle, takes a deadly blow to the beast by, that's what belief, faith, but this gift, that's how rotten, hard, stiff-necked man is. So then this free gift comes, then we can start seeking him for the first time. Never would have done it for self, never would have been corrected about anything in the heart. So that scripture will remain true to the end. Fool cannot be corrected. How simple is that? That just like no partiality in it. A fool cannot be corrected. Done. Powerful. Have to see how it's true. You have to see what foolishness is, what correction is, and then you have to see it. Then you can see those scriptures being true, in real life, in reality, what that really is and looks like. Well, it's deceptive. Then there's always the masquerade of making it look like you got corrected. You can make it sort of look like you love correction, and it's still not, because it wasn't anything to do in the heart. It was just a look-alike. You have to discern that too. It's unbelievable. Flesh profits nothing. What if that person's so-called correction was just a flesh thing? Is that what that scripture's speaking of? Flesh, carnality only? No, it's not. So that's how someone can make themselves look like they got corrected about something in their life and still be the fool that never got corrected, because it's speaking about the heart and not flesh things that have no profit or benefit by themselves. The flesh profits nothing. So let's say what? Blue clothes are a sin, so change to yellow. What do those two things have in common? No profit. No proof for a heart change. Just clothes change. Anybody could do that. So that's not the meaning of that. It's not the meaning of his word. See, it can be like, the trick can work like that. I change my clothes. Yeah, but the first thing was just a flesh thing, and now a flesh thing got corrected. I touched a dead carcass. I've seen someone say this. Someone that keeps 613 commandments, they keep repeating over and over. The laws in 613, kept saying that number over and over again. They make themselves look like they keep 613 things, massive number, over and over and over again, like a brainwashing, dangerous people. Tries to get inside of you. They want their image inside of you. They want you to think about them constantly and worship them. Why do you think we read, destroy them without mercy, pull your sword out and kill them all? Is that going to be offensive to someone today? Because that's the truth right there. If someone's not destroying what evil is in idols and images and other gods and peoples that want to get inside of you, destroying them, then it'll cause you to sin, and that causes death. It has to be destroyed. But we're not talking about cutting our enemies' heads off and doing them evil like that. Not at all. Talking about what this destruction means. Put away the evil thing from you. Well, if you can't do that in the heart, what does it look like? The only thing someone can do is kill someone then. Kill them. That's the best we can do and understand that scripture without the Father's Spirit. That's how you put away the evil person that's doing literal evil. Now that's how you disconnect the evil from you, is by putting that, separating, or just, we read this. No, but that's not, the carnal meaning is not the meaning for us. Really do have to destroy these things within. All kinds of images and idols, that tries to get in the temple. But they bring in blasphemous images in the temple. And they blaspheme the Father's temple. Literally, with blasphemous images and things and idols. This is meaning something. He destroys the blasphemed temple. The apostle says he will destroy that temple. What's this destruction look like? Physical? Well, it could end like that, but that's not the meaning. He destroyed Jerusalem's temple after, siege, and it got blasphemed. And it crumbled to the ground. That's what someone's going to do. That's what they're already destroyed and crumbled spiritually. Their temple, themselves, destroyed. Not one stone standing on another because of all these blasphemous wickedness and images inside them. Their heart that's doing all these things has to be set apart. And we read those verses for nothing. Can't be one with evil. Someone has to be learning to be set apart. Be seeking that from the Creator. It's the only way to have life continually. Keep His commandments. Learn what they mean and keep them in the heart. Something unclean gets nearby, it just dies instantly. Boom, dead. Judgment. People have no clue how much they have to learn and to do good and to do His will and to have Him dwell in their temple. They have no clue how much they have to learn to do and watch out for. Can't be mocked. Of course, all under His favor, all under doing, through self-denial. That's how we do this. You are the temple, we read, so that temple, the natural thing, and now the person is a temple, and with inside of themselves blasphemous images like I'm God, I'm the Creator in my heart. That is the greatest blasphemy. That is all connected to I am Elohim in my heart. That is the great blasphemous image. The Elohim of Elohims, greater than all others, no regard for women. Let the reader understand what this blasphemy in the temple is. Spiritually, for every believer. Also believe it's going to be manifested, prophecy at the end. A temple, a person, some insane person that's so strong of a delusion to the uttermost that he on another level believes he's the creator of the heavens and earth and rules and owns everything. And all the other Elohims, that pagan Elohims, all these other gods people revered and stuff, we read something about it being nothing to him. He's on another level of pride. We have to watch out for that within us, this other level of pride, where it's slandering the false gods. It's so much above those other Elohims, and it's on another level of pride. Great blasphemy. Someone's gone down very deep when they start claiming they are the Messiah. They've gone down deep, very deep. It's incredibly prideful and blind to start saying, I am the Messiah, bow to me. And there's people out there doing that. The darkness is even more severe, and the insecurity and death inside is even more severe. I don't know how they live. I don't know how the Creator has this. How do they live? All this patience on that severe sin. Some of the most wretched, evil people out there, some do monstrous things. How do they live to 90 years old doing that evil? Nobody even wants to know what they do. They live an old life. Maybe that's why we read, my foot almost slipped, start wanting to faint when I look at the wicked prosper carnally. Yes, have to learn what that means too and overcome it and not be envious of it, because really it's not good. It's not good for them. But it can kind of look like that at times, like, wow, seems a little bit unfair. Shouldn't there be a stronger judgment or something? Start questioning. Can't do that though forever. What's one way to show his extreme patience on extremely wicked evil? Just another way he shows his extreme patience. That someone can actually live and collect all these carnal things. It's a lot of patience for that much evil being done. While we read, would like to show his patience to the vessels of dishonor, mercy to the vessels of honor. That's why this exists. Not the exact same thing for every person. Some people do get cut off short. They don't live long. There's so much to understand. Someone can say, why did they get cut off short, but someone else went to 90? Hope they don't. What we can't be doing is trying to answer that when we don't know in 5 seconds. They'll end up being a lie, and it'll end up being judging his word and condemning it and saying it's foolish and stupid in some way. That's all that's going to do. Work in haste. Need the answer in 5 seconds. If he makes you wait, those that don't wait, well, like they say, the good thing that would have come for those that wait then never comes. Makes you wait. Or do we read wait, all these verses, teachings about waiting for what? Never do it? Never apply it? Who's doing it? If someone sees someone go, but what about this? And then they teach a lie real quick because of not understanding something and instantly made a judgment about what this is. Isn't that proof they didn't wait? that they're not doing that in the heart at all, their works just proved it. The works show whether someone is just instantly judging and saying, like, this is what this means, I got the answer in 5 seconds. The works prove it, whether that's happening or not. There's a lot of people doing that. Well, maybe also for waiting, then it's, if you waited for something for a while, then it's like a surprise when it comes. Then it's like a bigger deal. You could work out that kind of good too, through what seems like bad, and then it worked out good because it was like, whoa, maybe it's a bigger revelation for waiting for months. Who's gonna, remind you? What if you forget? Try to do it all yourself. Isn't that trying? Let me write down every little thing I'm doing and make sure I do this in 5 minutes. Maybe remind myself about this and this and this and this and go crazy like that. How is that faith? And I'm talking about a specific thing. Constantly like trying to get yourself to remember a ton of different things, or just let it all go and let him remind you, as if trusting in him is not going to work. Isn't that like casting doubt that he can do good or something? Are we actually not going to have something and miss it for actually believing in him? We'll legitimately never remember and never do this one thing over here because we didn't write 10,000 things to remind ourselves, like, or that's what it's sort of implying, isn't it? He can't do that. It's not to say that there's not some kind of good way to write things down at all. It's not the point. But the trust in self is the point. Trust in self. To count on figuring out what I need to do to make something work out for myself and myself. How about the Creator being somebody's study guide? Bible, whatever. What do they call them? Study Bibles. And that's supposed to be the Creator, not some man doing, all that work. What kind of blessing is it going to come through all that? None, zero, because it was not getting it from him. Amazing how simple the truth is. What did Abraham do for an understanding? He did the works of the Creator. What are those works? Just obey his voice. Could way more be said? Yeah, but it simplifies to just obey, hear his voice, obey. That's it. And he'll show you how to do all these things that Abraham does. But he obeys his voice. That's teaching. Then there's the masquerade. That's it, Then you do a bunch of things to try to make it look like the first thing, which is the giant lie that he will not bless. And it's not actually obeying him and hearing from him. It's doing all these other things just to make it look like someone's doing that. That's all it ends up doing. Kind of creates an image, and then it's just a giant, massive, deceptive distraction from the truth. Massive trick from something so simple. Well, these things help at the proper time when he gives the understanding. You follow a cloud, and then when it stops, you stop. You follow the fire by night. When it goes left, you go left. When it stops, you stop. When it goes, you go. Now try to fit the world's picture in there of the masquerade. They're not following that in reality, so that's behind them. Then you just do things to make it look like there's something in front of you that you're following. It's not actually following the Creator, the Lamb, and the Almighty, and the Lamb, Messiah. So many tricks, so many pathways. How do you cover them all? Don't even try. Just let it be whatever it is. They'll keep doing what they're doing. The president of the institutions will keep on doing their work. Yeah, work too. Esau's, got some work to do. He's given some work to do. All right, that's it then. Let's take care, seek truth from above.